You are watching Top Notch TV, Beyond the Lens.
A very good evening, our dear viewers, and welcome to another powerful edition of Let's Talk Tourism. And guest whom we have tonight is our guest from International Crane Foundation, the most leading conservation entity that is looking at preserving and maintaining the health ecosystems. I may call them habitats, wetlands, whichever word, for the cranes, and of course Ntumanisa Entuha for those who are in Kore. Now we have our guest who will basically tell us what this organization does, okay, and such that we know that we need to have these birds maintained within the health ecosystems that we are supposed to be having as Uganda. You know, Uganda is the pearl of Africa, and of course we have half of the world's bird population, okay, and literally that is why such kind of organizations need to come out to maintain our population such that the less endangered species are maintained within the ecosystems such that we don't have them to be eradicated from our population. Madam, it's a pleasure to have you on Let's Talk Tourism.
Thank you.
Basically, tell us about yourself.
I'm Orishaba Phiona, the Senior Field Officer working for International Crane Foundation, and specifically the African Crane Conservation Program that is based in southwestern Uganda in Orishaba district.
Okay. Yeah. But basically, I've always been seeing most of your programs. I've been hearing some of your programs on radios, everywhere. So I was so much tempted to say that let me invite you on Let's Talk Tourism, such that the good gospel you have been telling to other media platforms, you could also share to our audience.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
International Crane Foundation is a conservation organization that has been in existence for 50 years now. Actually 52, because it was formed in 1973.
Okay.
It has its head offices in the USA, in Wisconsin, and it looks at the 15 species of cranes in the whole world. And basically in Africa, we look at the 4 species of these cranes, which are the grey-crowned crane, that is the East African crane.
Okay.
Then we also have the black crane, black-crowned crane, the white-throated crane, and blue crane that are found in South Africa and South Central Africa.
Okay.
So the International Crane Foundation has taken interest to conserve the grey-crowned crane, which locally we call the crested crane, because it is an endangered bird according to IUCN species list.
Okay.
It has reduced actually by 80% in the last 25 to 40 years, and that's why we have to work with communities so that we engage everyone, we spread the gospel of this bird conservation. As you all know that in Uganda, it is our emblem, which we cannot afford to lose.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what is most trying to hit my mind is that among all the birds,
Yes.
why that particular bird, the crested crane?
Yes, as I have mentioned it, for Uganda particularly, the crested crane or the grey-crowned crane is the Ugandan emblem.
True.
It is declining at a devastating rate. As I have told you, it has reduced or declined by 80%, meaning we only have 20% in the country.
Okay.
So, and we cannot fold our arms to see it perish, and we find that the future generation will only be hearing about the grey-crowned crane on paper, in books and in stories, without seeing them.
And also on the Ugandan coat of arms.
Yeah, the Ugandan coat of arms. Yeah, you know, it is part of it. But basically seeing it physically in the wetlands, where they breed from, where they feed from sometimes. But as you know, because people have encroached on the wetlands, they are no longer having breeding places. Actually, that's why they are not increasing. Yes. So specifically, the major aim of International Crane Foundation is to make sure that we at least stabilize the population that is already available, or if the efforts are doubled and we work together with other stakeholders, we can increase its population so that it keeps in existence.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, you have different programs that you have always been sharing, and I don't know if these programs are gender inclusive. I may say both to the men and the women, or even the youth. Are they being included? Or the programs are really targeting the youth and the women? And because men are always in office, I may say, oh, they are busy doing some other work.
Okay.
What's your target on that?
Our target is everyone. Actually, starting with the young generation, because now we are also looking at entering schools, actually partnering with the wildlife clubs of Uganda, so that we look at the young children in schools, because you know these children are the fastest agents of change. They quickly take the messages and sometimes interpret it quickly, and then they take it home to the parents or the wider community. We have engaged at sometimes these kids in drama, in singing, in poems, in many kinds of media, so that these can be creative, and then they spread the gospel easily and locally to where it can easily reach the local people who live with the cranes in their gardens, in their communities, in their trees, so that we live in harmony with the crane and the community. Oh, wow. So this is gender inclusive because we work with communities, in community groups. So we go to a community, then we find established groups, and where they are not, we establish them. We make them formal by helping them to register at the district level as the CBOs, so that these groups, you know, they are gender inclusive because most of the groups have men and women, and we don't mind about the age. If we find youth, we keep them. If we find actually the disabled, we keep them. We find the elderly people, we also keep them. And as International Crane Foundation, we have also worked with the volunteers in communities who are called crane custodians. Those who move around communities where they live without actually putting in much transport, and they spread the gospel of how to conserve this crane and to live in harmony. We have engaged these custodians to mobilize people on different platforms. For example, they have formed a drama club. We have moved in almost every church or every worship place in Ruchiga district and the other areas, spreading the gospel of crane conservation, wetland conservation, using upland sustainably. Then, like by practicing soil and water conservation, we give out some livelihood support so that people can concentrate on that. They don't move out to the wetlands for agriculture. We have supported climate smart agriculture, especially compound gardening or backyard gardening, mushroom growing. We have made farmer field schools where people go to learn from. We have supported people with water harvesting facilities like dams, especially in public places, like schools, like churches, like hospitals, where everyone can access the service, so that when they hear about a crane, they know, we have benefited from the International Crane Foundation, so we should work together to conserve this bird, because it is really important for us, Uganda. And we don't actually look at cranes alone. The cranes are used as the flagship, so that we look at the wider community who live with these cranes, because you know cranes sometimes become stubborn and they try to destroy people's crops. But now we are trying to look at what can be done so that this can be reduced. So that we can reduce on the human conflict, because people have tried to attack these cranes, but we are trying to work with them closely so that we put up some initiatives so that these communities really, they have mindset, they create good attitude, so that whenever they see the grey-crowned crane, or wherever they find eggs, the chicks, the young ones, even the elder adult cranes, they shouldn't interfere with them, because they'll be knowing, we have benefited from this International Crane Foundation, so let us conserve the crane, and then we also benefit.
Thank you so much, ICF.
You're welcome.
Now, what could be the most pressing threats that you looked at that are being affecting these cranes, such that we put more efforts and more work in line with conserving these cranes?
Thank you so much. These cranes, I can tell you, facilitator, they have many threats.
Okay.
One of them, and the biggest one, being agricultural encroachment on these wetlands. As you all know that the population increases while the land stays the same. So people have used soils for years and years and years. So now they have become infertile. Like, for example, from where I come in Ruchiga district, it is a very mountainous area, a hilly place. So people have testified saying that, soils uplands have become infertile. They are no longer productive. And the worst part of it, when it rains heavily, as you know, there has become climate change. There is soil erosion and there are landslides. So they carry all the fertile soil down to the wetlands. So they have told us for them, they move down to the wetlands following their fertile soils. So what are we coming to do now? We are also having we are creating a solution. That is one, agricultural encroachment on wetlands for farming. Number two, these cranes, they are being poisoned. When they encroach on people's gardens and they destroy them, especially in this central Uganda and some parts of West where they grow cereals, like groundnuts, like maize, like millet, and only to mention, these cranes have disturbed the farmers so much. So they have looked at to try to see how they can stop them, because they say they have faced losses because of these cranes. That is number two. We have electrocution and power line collision. These cranes, when they are flying over the electric wires, they don't see them sometimes. So they are electrocuted, and somewhere they are killed by power lines, and that is also a cause of the crane's loss.
Now how can that be solved?
That one, as International Crane Foundation, it is trying to engage power line companies. Like now, UEDCL, the head offices or the head officials are trying to engage the power companies to see how they can manage. At least they put reflectors or something that can be visible by these cranes so that they don't come in contact with these power lines.
Seen,
yes, and they are sometimes not seen, especially when during evening times or in the dawn.
Even at night,
yes.
But will they be jumping at night?
When they're going to roost in the evening, coming from feeding. Yes. Then we have also seen cranes and chick capture, especially in young children. A crane's egg is very big. So for these children, they will be interested and inquisitive to know what is inside this egg. So they want to capture them. But now that's why we are coming to work with young kids, so that we sensitize them that it is a no touch and no go zone. Then sometimes you find them carrying chicks because they want to make them pets. They feel that they want to put them at home because they look like the chicks of hens. So sometimes we find that children pick those chicks and they take them at home. And then we also have these grazers, people who have livestock. They no longer have vegetation or fodder for their animals at home. So they now go to the wetlands, they push in their animals so that they get what food on their animals. We have also seen fire. People are burning wetlands. And when they burn wetlands, when the pair of crane has put its eggs, of course they will be burnt. Yeah, and also we have also seen soil erosion, bringing soil and stones and big particles of maybe soil and rocks. And then when they come down in that running water, they find where there are crane eggs. On the nest, they also cover them. That is also another threat. And there is also use of pesticide. The pesticides in agricultural fields have also affected the grey-crowned crane decline, because some of them are toxic. So when the cranes are feeding, they find that they have fed on the pesticide that have been used, which is poisonous to a crane. Then it is dead. Sometimes poisoning is not intentional. A farmer has put his pesticide in the garden when she's trying to care for the crops. Then the crane comes to feed. On feeding, it feeds on that pesticide that has been used.
Now, according to how I see, that is a natural, I may say, a natural control or measure that has been put to reduce their population. for example, take an assumption, the population of cranes has increased, right? You have done the conservation, and for example, like in Uganda, we're supposed to be having the optimal population number of cranes to around like 10,000. But in the wrong way, the population of the cranes has overshoot the 10,000, and we have over like 3,000 cranes, and now we need mechanisms to regulate them. Now, I think now them coming and feeding to these, they kill them.
No. That is impossible to happen because you see, a crane produces once a year.
In a year?
Yes. And it is common.
And one chick?
No, not necessarily one, because these cranes lay between 1 to 4 eggs. But it depends on the care they also give to their young ones.
Some die.
Some die. Of course, when they are 4, for example, it is hard for them to feed them because you know when they are 2 or 3, one will move with one chick, another one will move with another chick. So it is not common that we get all the 4 growing. So you see, if we have 20 pairs and they all give birth to 1 chick or 2 chicks in a year, now how many young ones have bred? And it is not a must that if a chick is hatched, it will grow, because there are many things like the hunting dogs. They also, it is another threat actually. They also feed on these chicks, on these eggs. You see, I have not mentioned the fishermen who go to wetlands for fishing. They also sometimes stamp on these eggs, even not intentional, and they die. So it is not really common for the cranes population to double, like in a year, that we are having 10,000 cranes and then we are getting 20,000 cranes. No, the breeding success is still very low. Yes.
Okay. Now, you have done most of the conservation work and you have done most of creation awareness programs.
Yes.
And I think this year, if I may be knowing, around like 3 or 2 that you have done so far to the moment. So do you have these programs created some impact according to how you make your analysis, or there's nothing that
it has? Because before, people never knew that cranes were important until we came on board and we started talking about the cranes. The way we have moved in churches, as I've mentioned, the many times we have gone to the radio stations, the many times that we have talked to people through different platforms. Actually, even on party days, we are sometimes given chances or to talk to people, or we perform our drama so that people see. Now, we get reports from even people who are not near us, but they have ever heard that ICF is there. We receive many phone calls telling us where they have seen chicks, where they have seen eggs, where they have seen adults feeding. Because when we check our phones, we get very many pictures from different people, from different stakeholders, especially the security people, the district government staff, the RDCs, the chairperson, LC5s, those people in those big offices, because they have known the importance. Everyone now is alert. Actually, even if I'm passing somewhere, a kid will call me by name, like, oh, they say, yes, you know, that's our now a nickname everywhere we go, because they know the Entua people are there, and when you point to a crane, something will be done. And so we also try to work with the government to tell people the punishment that they get if they harm this crane. They can either get life imprisonment or they pay a fine of 20 billion, or both, which is not easy for a local person, a common person to just get. So that's why they are also reporting. If actually they see you, Maurice, touching on a crane, immediately they will handle you themselves. And then they will just call that we have Maurice with a chick or with an egg. So you cannot.
That's the level of sensitization it has reached.
Yes.
Okay. That's some good work. Thank you. Now, there's a certain workshop that you have been running, probably 3-day workshop. And this workshop was all about empowering teachers for tomorrow's leaders, right?
Yes.
And there's a certain comic book that you recently introduced now to these teachers. What is the significance of that comic book? Do you think it holds
The comic book has not shown any significance for now because we have just introduced it.
Yes.
That's why we have put together the teachers from the 20 schools across the district that we work in. That is Ruchiga, Isinjiro, Mbarara, Rengo, and Sembabuli. We have at least picked 2 teachers from every school, and we have gotten 6 schools from Uchiga, from Rengo, from Mbarara, and Isinjiro, so that we coordinate them, we bring them together. Actually, we are partnering with WCU, the Wildlife Clubs of Uganda. We bring their coordinators. They meet with these teachers and International Queen Foundation, because the WCU will be leading on this program in these schools. So we have started on it. We have opened the content to these teachers, and now after tomorrow, they will go and start implementing the content of this book. Then it will now become our role as ICF and WCU to follow up to the teachers to see, has it caused an impact? Can we add in something? So we are introducing it now, so we shall see the impact and the significance later after the workshop.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. I see your program includes a menstrual management training for teachers, basically. I don't know how that menstrual management training is connected with the programs of conservation that ICF is doing. Can you enlighten us about that?
Okay, thank you so much. We have seen that menstrual hygiene management in schools is no longer given attention, and this is a girls' program. It is a program that looks at keeping girls in school by informing them on how to manage themselves when they start their menstrual periods. It has always become a problem for girls because when a girl starts the menstrual periods, she sometimes keeps at home for all the days that she will be in the periods and then not coming back to school, or she becomes shy herself. And sometimes these girls come from poor backgrounds. They don't have what to use, like pads or pieces of clothes to use. So they will now not be confident to come to school when they are in the periods. So we have brought up this program so that we train or we work with the senior women teachers in these schools. We give them knowledge and skills so that they can know how to handle these girls and when they are to start these periods or when they enter for the first times. And then we are looking at training these girls and some of their mothers to produce these pads themselves. What do I mean by producing? We provide by material. We train them on how to make them themselves from the schools where they are, so that this girl will not suffer again, that she's not having money to buy these artificial pads that they always use. That's what we are looking at, so that girls, they're always vulnerable. They don't drop out of school because of this issue. Maybe any other factors. But we want now to integrate it in the school programs and actually with this crane conservation work, so that we see how this integration will help us to keep the girls in school and not forgetting the boys, because these boys are the brothers of these girls. We don't want to leave them out. So we want to see elsewhere the menstrual health hygiene has been handled independently, then the conservation work has been handled independently. But as International Queen Foundation now, we want to bring them together and we see the impact it will cause. If someone is in conservation and now she engages a girl, she does not leave behind the boy, so all the things will be handled together so that we see the future of this young generation.
Okay, yes. You last said or you mentioned about making those pads, right?
Yes, yes.
Are those pads going to be made from natural materials?
No.
That would long last? Or
no, not local materials. We have engaged a consultant.
Okay.
They have looked out for the best fiber that we want to use. What I mean to be made locally, it is not to be made from the factories. We want to train these girls and their mothers in the communities to use their normal sewing machines to make themselves. And actually, yes, and
so you
actually,
find like it could be a cloth.
yes,
she can make a pad from it.
Yes, and actually we are looking at making it a business, not only giving them as handouts. Can these girls make them, and at least they share the cost with the people who make it? Like if it is costing 300, can a girl afford 100? And then also we put for her like 200 so that she can access it. We don't want to make them expensive. Then these mothers who will be doing it, can they put it on a local market that can be managed and afforded by these local women, local girls? You know, it is only actually not young guys that may lack to get materials to use. Even there are women who don't have money to buy the pads that you see. So when we put them at a local market that can be affordable by these local women, I think they will be happy, and they now come up to see the crane and conserve its habitat because they have benefited from what has been used previously.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, now will these pads be, they will be reused
yes,
again?
Yes, they are reused.
For how long?
Basically, we are looking at the material that can be used from 1 to 6 months.
Oh.
Yes.
It becomes like a cloth? Or...
Yes, you use it, you wash it, because you're looking at a material that is easy to wash and can be managed by any age when she starts the menstrual period, so that she can wash it, it becomes clean. We teach them how to dry them so that they are always feeling comfortable because they have what to use. They know at any time I start, I have my thing at home, or I'll be carrying it in my school bag, so I don't have any problem.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, in your menstrual training management program, that you I don't know if you have enrolled or you have been doing it or it's coming. What challenges do you see rural schools are likely to face or have been facing as you're trying to enroll your menstrual health?
So as I have mentioned, we are looking at working in schools from rural areas.
Yes.
And really, you know that these schools have girls from poor backgrounds.
Right.
We have been to these schools for the baseline survey. So we have found girls don't have materials to use. They don't have pads, they can't afford them. They normally use, sometimes one can tear her dress so that she uses it when she starts, when there is no money to buy a pad. So maybe one challenge that we can see is now adaptation. It is called adoption yes. of this pad, because it will be new to them. They have not seen it. That's the only challenge I may say it may come, but it is just we are only suspecting. It is only a suspicion that it may come, but we have not seen it. But after getting used to it, I don't think any challenge, because who wouldn't want something to stay? To be used more and more, because instead of spending money every month, you spend the money once, you take your 6 months, and then because in the 4th month, now will be thinking, in the 6th month, I want to replace these pads. So can I at least start looking for where I can get the money, the little money that I will use to buy another set, take me for another 6 months.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I see the menstrual training always involves in the women, the girls. What about the boy child?
I think I had mentioned that these teachers that you have brought together are both male and females.
Yes.
The females are basically, we have looked at senior women teachers who always lead on this program of teaching girls on how to handle themselves when they start their menstrual periods. But we have brought men on board to help in when the ladies are not there. And these boys, as the ladies will be handling girls, the men will be handling boys. One would ask, if they don't use pads, why should they engage them? We want them to know, because they are tomorrow's fathers. And of course, these girls are their brothers. So we want to engage them so that whenever a girl gets a problem, this boy is there to help. If this boy marries tomorrow, he can help his wife and his children. So we are not leaving out the boys alone. We want to sensitize them because, you know, sometimes girls become shy. When, like, if I started today unawares and the boy sees me, the girl will, after knowing, tomorrow she will not come to school. But we want to empower the boys that if tomorrow he sees the girl has maybe started the periods and she damages her uniform, her clothes, he becomes confident to come and tell the girl, please, sister, can you go and clean yourself? Not laughing, not pointing the fingers on them. No, we want to empower them to be there for the girls so that they can help attend time a girl. Or maybe if she knows that the girl has had a period and she's not attending school, this boy will now confidently go home to tell the girl, it is normal. You are not the first person. You see, you have grown. This is a sign of growth. Can you come back to school? No one will know. So we are not leaving out the boys. That's why we have engaged the male teachers so that they also try to engage the boys to let them know about menstrual health management so that they help the girls they stay with at home, in class, and in the community.
But I wonder, why do girls feel so much affected when something that happens or when they reach at that particular age?
It is not only a girl, by the way, Morris. Even me, at my age, if I started my periods unawares, because sometimes because of the body changes or the hormones or the what, I can start my periods at the time I didn't expect, and I destroy my clothes. It is very touching that now I'm bypassing you when I don't know, and then you don't even tell me. Then reaching there, that Phiona, you have put a stamp. I also become uncomfortable. So blood, you know, it is not really something that should be seen by everyone.
So you're right.
So so this girl, if she, especially from, as I've told you, that they come from poor backgrounds, if she doesn't have the sanitary things to use, why should she go to school and then she puts a stamp on the uniform to be laughed at? She'll keep at home, she'll manage herself the way she can afford, and then after knowing that now I'm very fine, there's no one who will laugh at me, she goes back, and that affects their performance in class, because there are some girls who may spend a week at home when they have not completed their cycle. So that week she would have missed a lot. Sometimes it affects their performance in class.
Okay.
Yes.
So as a conservational leader, what gaps do you see in national conservation communication that are lacking?
First of all, I will talk about poor enforcement or lack of enforcement of government laws that concern conservation. For example, the laws that connect with the wetland conservation, where these cranes breed. Encroachment has become a problem. I don't remember since when. And there is the law, or there is the act in the environment part, even in the Ugandan constitution, but who minds? No one is looking at it. You see, the wetlands, most parts of them, they are being used by people in government, but no one is coming up to talk. And people in the local communities are actually complaining. If the government cannot handle those people in the offices, why are they looking at us? These also people down the villages, they will not also listen to them. So that is one. Then people don't know these laws actually. There is enforcement and there is knowing. Some people break the laws unknowingly. So there is also a gap that they are not moved down to the community people to be known and understood so that they don't fall in traps. Then there is also the gap between the high level people and the low level people. What do I mean? People who are rich and the poor people in the communities. Like, I will be there having my land in the wetland. I will now fear to talk to you because I know you can say, can I give you money even, and you leave that place. So there is no bridge between the rich and the poor. So the poor are down there suffering. And then you see there is people not knowing the importance of conservation. Have we reached out to teach everyone that conservation is important? For example, there are places how we can do ecotourism and the people in the community could benefit in it. But do we know? We don't know. So there is lack of knowledge. about the importance of conservation of every environment, ecosystem that we have.
Okay.
Yes.
In your final words, what is your message to someone who is watching us?
Okay. Of course, as a crane conservationist, I will tell them that they should look at a crane as a national bird and as an endangered species. So they look at it as an important Ugandan emblem. So we should look at their habitats and look at their chicks and young ones. We should give them places where to feed from, and we should give them trees to roost in. So because we want to see this crane forever. And also call upon the community so that they come up and we work hand in hand so that we can benefit from them and they can also benefit from us. Actually, they are benefiting from cranes and cranes are benefiting from them because these cranes are part of the tourist attractions in Uganda.
Right.
So yeah, you know, the money that comes from this tourism plays a big role in these our normal government implementation activities down there. So they benefit from the crane and the crane benefits from the community by getting the feeding places, the breeding places, and the roosting places so that I don't know how to mention, benefiting from each other. Yes. Yes. So I call upon the community, the wider community, that together we can fight together and we can conserve this environment because if we don't, climate change has become real. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And tonight, the story was all about leading conservation, educating the youth, and of course, championing menstrual health management trainings such that we live in healthy ecosystems. I remain Maurice, your host, and today we had a senior field officer from International Crane Foundation who is basically championing all this work. Thank you so much for watching.
By names of Chembo Caroline. I teach at Wacheba Primary School in Orishaba district. Then in this workshop of the cranes, the first thing I learned from it is how to conserve the environment and how to manage cranes, their habitat, see their feeding, and how to increase them in an area. Then another thing from this workshop, I learned how to share or to make new friends in different areas. After the workshop, I intended to teach my fellow teachers at school in order to join me to make a big group such that we teach our learners how to live in the society, how to conserve the environment, even how to deal with the cranes. Then another thing, we shall teach them how to live with other people, even how to manage their sanitation.
I'm by the names of Karuji Dora from Kawasek Pentecostal Primary School in Rengo District, whereby I'm working as a senior woman. I thank so much the ICF and WCU for the training they have conducted. For sure, it has been very good. First and foremost, after this workshop, when we go back home, first of all, we have to make a work plan whereby we are going to cascade to teach other teachers and the community, parents, and even pupils at large. Thereafter, we are going to implement what they have told us. Then another thing, we are going to walk around in the community, showing them what we have learned about wetland, how to conserve the wetland, and how to manage the cranes to be in good condition so that we can uplift the maintenance of the cranes in our country. That's all I can talk about. Thank you so much.
My name is Jomjeni Peace Niar. I teach at Changa Girls Primary School in Iruchiga district. I have come here to attend a course or a workshop, and I was invited by the Crane, International Crane Foundation. And I've been learning a lot. More especially, I've learned about how to protect the environment and how to protect the crane. And so as I go back, I'll try and make sure that I teach the children I teach them about the crane and how to protect the environment, and even I teach my fellow teachers so that we cooperate and protect the crane and the environment at large. So for the people who have not attended, the message I take to them is also to advise them and teach them how to protect the environment in order for our income and well-being to be good.
It has been an interesting communication. It has been an interesting interaction. Please, let's put in place what they have told us, and we look forward. And if you know that you have a school and the school is not having this club, particularly the wildlife club in general, now it's your time to make sure that you call the responsible personnel, that is wildlife clubs of Uganda. Their contacts are going to be shared, such that you could also form the wildlife club within your school. I remain Mols. Let's talk tourism. Thank you. Till next time.
You are watching Top Notch TV, Beyond the Lens.
From the heart of Uganda's breathtaking destinations to the boardrooms where tourism strategy is implemented, we bring you Let's Talk Tourism. This is a show made for tourism professionals, conservationists, environmentalists, destination manager companies, and those who are managing hotels, and every voice shaping Uganda's tourism. We will unpack issues, spotlight success stories, showcase top destinations, and provide a voice to the tourism private sector that it deserves. Wildlife management, MICE tourism, hospitality management, environmental conservation, and much more.
Let's Talk Tourism, elevating Uganda's tourism conversation, only on Top Notch TV.